their legs under them, but I mean, they've definitely found some of those legs throughout the season. They're looking a whole lot better than when they first started out.
Sure, absolutely. And the EGFC, what a great place to do that, right? There are so many teams of that you can really come through in. Oh, I'm so excited. I thought it was a meme. No, we've got another Isabelle player. Back-to-back, two Isabelles in Canoe. One of my personal favorite players in the EGFC. I love Jigglypuff, and I think Canoe is our only Jigglypuff player this season. There may be one or two more, but I believe Canoe is one of few. And I mean, just jumping into this straight away, this is going to be interesting because both of them are relatively light fighters.
Yeah. Now, one thing you've got to keep in mind in this matchup, one thing Isabelle loves to do is shield on top of that little mine right there.
Right.
Pound will hit the shield and hit the mine and instantly shield break. That is one intricacy of this matchup. Both players are surely aware of, but you've got to fight your muscle memory every single time.
Yeah, that is actually a really fascinating encounter. I didn't know that happened. So now that's going to be interesting. Like you said, Baka is going to have to change a lot of that possible playstyle to succeed. There is a catch-out, however. Canoe does get caught up by that first one, and with Jigglypuff only weighing, I mean, one of the lightest characters in the game, being at 86% can definitely be scary.
Yeah, as now, you've got to get around this. Bakakun is one of the stronger players here, and especially, I feel like Bakakun might actually be one of the strongest on University of South Alabama, so they're starting strong. They're hoping to get an early lead. That seems to be the style a lot of teams are going for nowadays.
Yeah, the style definitely seems to be there, putting in the stronger players, and honestly, I'm on board. You know how I feel about that. I think that's a great idea. I think it makes a whole lot of sense to start with those stronger players, have them clean up early, really give your team a huge lead, and then kind of go from there, try to build off of that. Right now, Bakakun, like you said, one of the stronger players, I think has a general advantage in this matchup. This matchup is not one I'm familiar with, full disclosure, and it's important to note that. But I feel like Isabelle, her range goes a really long way here because Jigglypuff has absolutely no range.
Yeah, the one thing Jigglypuff does have is the aerial mobility and the ability to get around these these little things on the ground. Jigglypuff has a lot of tools that are just barely disjointed enough to break through that mine, but here in the edge guard, you've got to find something a little more than that. Isabelle has so many mix-ups, but they are reactable mix-ups, but that is also a reactable mix-up. You got to be ready right there, but good recovery right there from Canoe, getting that upward angle pound to get all the way back up.
Yeah, that upward angle pound, is going to be huge. Great teammates maker, and that, unfortunately, is going to be even bigger. Bakakun takes that second stock offline. Still at 100%, though. I was going to say, one half-decent back air might end you, but Bakakun still able to make it back onto stage. You've got to be really careful. You've got to look for that extra credit, or Canoe's just going to reset us entirely.
Yeah, as now, all that off-stage interaction, that strong hit in air, that's going to kill anytime you're above 100 off stage. Anytime. As now, you've got to find just your big starter. Now, Isabelle does have a lot of options she loves to throw out this fishing rod, but that you can get strong punishes on. Like that falling up air, that's a great way to start. But you get walled out.
Right. You get walled out, and that's really going to hurt down the line. Baka has found a great opportunity, 82%, but we've seen Canoe come back from, I'm going to say it, come back from much worse situations. There's absolutely a world where this Jigglypuff comes out on top of things, but the catch, the grab through the shield, really going to interrupt there. It's going to be Canoe being thrown off stage, 124. Bright side, full rage. Downside, a flick in the ribs is going to kill you, just like that. Canoe losing that first engagement. That's going to be Bakakun coming out with a one-spot lead.
And one thing I do want to call out, we're about to see it in this replay right here, but a lot of people who play trap characters like Isabelle, they will set up their little trap, and then they'll just hit you. Like, you look at the trap, it's the art of misdirection. They're like, look at me, are you gonna hit me on top of my mine? Not if you saw, and then they just grab you. They just throw the fishing rod.
Yeah, that is something that we really have seen quite a few times, and I think that's the difference between a good trap player and a great trap player. I think the good ones can use the traps, and the great ones can win without only using the traps, right? They can play that misdirection. They can play that advantage of expectation. They can play that conditioning, and that really takes them the extra mile. I'm excited to see not only an Isabelle, but a successful one at that. I feel like Bakakun really has a good understanding of this fighter, and I think this could be a great sign of the growth that USA is going to bring to the table. Yeah,
Bakakun has come in a bunch of times as, like, the stone wall They come in to shut down really fast-paced players, and fast-paced isn't what you usually think of with Jigglypuff. But honestly, that's the way Canoe was trying to be playing. They were trying to get right up in their face, do some aerial rushdown, and it really wasn't going in their favor because this is Bakakun's specialty right here.
Yeah. 100%. A specialty indeed. I feel like there's very many, or sorry, I feel like there aren't very many Isabelle players. I know only one outside of what we've seen today and now. I mean, that has been tripled. We've got 3 on the table right now. With a playstyle like that, I think Bakakun's going to be bringing that to the table immediately once again. I don't think we're going to be seeing a swap in character. I know that Bakakun does have a pocket, but I'm not going to say who it is, try not to spoil things, but I just, with the way that Isabelle was played, especially because I don't think I've ever seen Canoe off the Jigglypuff, I think we're just going to get a run back.
Yeah, it's... I don't expect anything else. That was a pretty close game coming down to last stock, so yeah. Going into this, I feel like Canoe, the thing you've got to do is get more off of your edge guards. You only got one really big edge guard kill that last game. So, yeah, must have been the wrong stage right here.
I sure hope so. Yeah, okay. I was like, oh boy, that's a horrible way to start. Okay. That is a bit of a reset there. Mississippi State. The wrong stage chosen. We can already hear it. We are running and gunning right back into this swing of thing. Oh, no, just kidding. I thought the stage was coming through already, but now it's going to be a lot of great value happening side of Mississippi State. They want to get that out of the way. They want to go to the proper stage, which I'm actually going to peek at what that was. Oh,
yeah, they're looking for Battlefield, which I don't hate as Puff. Yeah. The thing about that is Isabelle's not going to get ladder combos on you, and even though she might get some interesting extensions by having that Lloyd Rocket underneath that top platform and then you running into it, really it's Jigglypuff who's getting a lot more value off of here, being able to just chase you on the platforms with the Sing. Especially online, it's a tremendous punish.
A great start, a much slower one. I feel like 10 seconds in last time, we were at like 30-40% on the both of them. And as I say that, Canoe already back up to that 35. Bakakun doing a really good job playing that zoning game. I talked about how difficult it's going to be for Jigglypuff to engage in the long run. You've got that great aerial mobility. Mobility alone isn't going to win you the game. You're going to need to land some hits here and there. And right now, Bakakun doing a great job canceling out that mobility by just constantly finding these hooks, finding these fishing routes.
I feel like the fishing route always goes like 2 feet longer than you expect it to.
Absolutely.
Like, oh, and they tried to throw them up into that Lloyd Rocket, but it didn't matter. They were just dead anyways. The fact that it's a kill throw on top of everything, and they're getting the extensions off of the Nair hits, this is beautiful stuff from Bakakun. They're looking on fire on this Isabelle.
Yeah, this Isabelle, and I mentioned this already, is not something that we see often, but not only are we seeing it, we are seeing it well done. This is a very well-versed Isabelle. We see that clearly got a lot of understanding of this character. She was one that a lot of people were hyped for, and then she immediately kind of fell to the wayside, wasn't considered a very high-tier character. That didn't stop Bakakun by any means. I mean, they clearly have got a great understanding of how to make the magic happen with this Isabelle, already looking for the second stock for even losing their first Miles.
Yeah, this is looking... I mean, you've got to find a huge edge guard right here. Puff is a character who can make these comebacks. She can get these early kills. That is what you're looking for. That is incredibly precise to the point where I didn't even want to call it out. But if you're able to just softly tap at those balloons and without touching Isabelle herself, you can gimp her at 0.
Yeah, and the Isabelle Gimp, like you said, those balloons, incredibly punishable, especially if she's headed straight up. If there's no horizontal trajectory, then she is going to be really easy to take advantage of. But Canoe on the Jigglypuff has a lot of very catchable abilities as well. Of course, the insta-death out of shield, the only character in the game to do that. If the shield's broken, they immediately die. And what a stage spike. Wow, what a great opportunity there from Canoe to call out that angle and find a huge stock, tying things back up again.
Is now is what you've got to be careful of. Chasing a lot with these pounds, but you're not really overshooting a lot of the time, and Canoe once again is at pretty much kill percent. You need a major mistake right here. Oh no, that must have just been a downward angled pound. That, well, bit of a mistake right there. You're able to survive, or you're not able to survive, and that'll be Canoe dropping this first set. University of South Alabama taking an early lead.
Yeah, University of South Alabama starting strong. Not only have they won match victory, but with a 2-0 over Canoe. A great way, arguably the best way, to start things off in this series so far. What an opening. What a clean performance. And, I mean, I can't get over this Isabel gameplay. I'm so fond of it.
Yeah, it's really been a sight to behold, if I'm being honest. They brought a lot to the table I was not expecting. The fact that they are actually, like, getting huge extensions on Jigglypuff of all characters. Like, usually Isabel just gets these strings, but you're still getting 40% and then also zoning and trapping and consistently killing Jigglypuff at like 105%.
Yeah. I mean, it's just such a consistent play style. And I've got to say, I mean, what Bakakun brought to the table today was just unexpected, pleasant, very entertaining. A fan was found in me today, let me tell you that. And I didn't even notice I don't know what I thought happened there, but the first time around, I literally did not notice the rest. That might just be my fault entirely, I don't know. But I think the knockback from Bakakun there just takes them out entirely. The ledge is going to be missed, and that's unfortunate. You know, it's going to be a great start for USA, but with Mississippi State being one of the strongest teams in the EGFC, they've got 4 more to go, and there is absolutely a world where they turn this around, right? They are down by, 3 points, I think? It's a 3-0, and it's just, I mean, there is more than enough room for them to really turn this around, turn on the gas. Canoe goes down, but there are 4 more, at least, very strong players waiting in the back line.
Yeah, I mean, and we did see we have seen Mississippi State sweat. They have sweat hard against other teams. Specifically, like, I don't want to start up this rumor. I don't want to be spreading rumors that, oh, Mississippi, they're getting so weak, blah, 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 blah. But they have been uncharacteristically close with a lot of these teams.
Agreed.
Like, UConn was giving them a run for their money at times. And, like, it's just things like that you've got to keep in mind. Mississippi State needs to shore up their defenses as you approach playoffs. They're already a shoo-in for playoffs.
Right, absolutely.
Like, so they're just trying to get into prime form again, into championship winning form before they get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're right as well. We've had the opportunity to see a lot of Mississippi this split in particular. We've seen them I think this is the 4th time this split already that we have seen them. Maybe only the 3rd, but either way, like you mentioned, a lot of these have been uncharacteristically close for Mississippi. And I wonder, is that just, a general compliance? They know they are one of the best teams. They know that they've got that spot in playoffs. Are they trying to have a little bit more fun with it? Or is that just the skill floor at the EGFC, right? Is it getting a little bit harder to continuously be one of those very strong teams? Because even the newer schools are coming out swinging.
I think it is. However, when they do want to win, they win.
Oh, when they turn it on? Yeah.
Yeah, like, UT Arlington, one of the rising stars, came at them the other week, and Mississippi shut them out. UT Arlington had looked untouchable. They hadn't lost a single game. They were winning with like 25+ points every single time. And then Mississippi.
Absolutely. And speaking of Mississippi, it looks like we've got Miso coming in next for Mississippi. I believe an Ike player who will be going up against, let me check, Nanomech on the side of University of South Alabama, who I believe is a Terry.
Yeah, now, they have been kind of doing a little bit better recently. I mean, in general, Nanomech had struggled a little bit in the beginning. They were swapping around characters a lot, but they've eventually settled onto this Terry, and it's going to be Miso's Ike. Now, this one's going to be tough, but I do like how much they're playing around Shield to open up the game.
Yeah, the slow approach, not a super entertaining one, right, but a very smart one indeed. It's not just going to be a bloodbath across the board. These players are going to be playing a little bit more calm, cool, and collected. And I think you're right, Miles. I think we're seeing a lot of Shield gameplay coming out from Nanomech, who, I'm going to say it, it's a little bit lucky with those magnet hands there. That was close for comfort. Now really struggling to find the engagement, and I think very similar to Canoe versus Bakakun here, it's going to be a zoning difference. Miso can reach a lot further than Nanomech can.
Yeah, this is just hard call-outs on a lot of these things. Oh, the up, you had a shield too to open you up before they're just cleaving through you as you get sent off stage. Beautiful stuff thus far by Miso, who is looking dominant as you open this up. They catch that ledge hang. They're like, nah, you're looking a little too comfortable there. Let me just bada bing, bada bop.
Yeah, Nano already up over 100% on their second stock. Miso has taken 16%. Miles, I think that was like the first hit of the game. I think we have not seen Miso take some damage in quite a while. As I say that, though, Nanomech finally getting an opportunity to strike, finding, what is that, 50% on the nose there, putting a lot of damage away. I'd say one more good combo, maybe two, they can at least find a stock on a Miso here.
It's getting that opening that's the hardest part. Anytime they're about to go in, they run into that super armor, that up B that they have, and these air dodges in have been called out so hard. Miso just goes for the beheading.
Your skills, Miso with the guillotine there. My goodness, just a phenomenal showing. We talked about it when Mississippi turns it on, right? Miles, I would consider it turned on. I would consider that quite an aggressive performance there from Mississippi State's Miso, who, if I'm not mistaken, is a newer player. I don't think they're like brand new or anything, but I don't believe they were on the team last year. I think they are in addition to Mississippi's roster. I think clearly they're proving their weight in gold here, right?
Yeah, this is looking very nice for Miso. I mean, Ike has always been a very consistent character for a lot of teams, a lot of anchors running this Ike, and you can definitely see why. Now, one thing you do have, like, it really does feel like Miso just got that first stock, and they never really let it go. Like, they were inside their head. Like, it really did look like they were just reading off the script, and they're like, okay, where are they going? They're going to be air dodging in. Okay, let me just cleave through that, and let's see.
Checking in the notes.
Jump.
Like, what's next?
Jump. Like, they're just playing with one hand, reading the script with the other. Like, that's really all you need to do at a certain point. So, we'll have to see if you're able to just mix up your options a little bit more. Because, like, sometimes all a top player needs is one habit of yours, and they will demolish you. Like, you're playing someone, and you see they always jump at a disadvantage, and suddenly it looks like you're psychic, when really you're just playing around that one habit. And the more you exploit it, the more nervous they get, and the more nervous they get, the more they'll fall back on that habit. So you've got to break that cycle. You've got to mix things up. You've got to at least force Miso to guess. Because if you don't, then it's just going to be the same song and dance over and over.
And I think Miso is going to have to do a little bit more of guessing here, because we are actually getting a swap from Nanomech. They're going to be coming in on the Incineroar here for Game 2. I did not catch the stage, Smashville. So Incin versus Ike once again on Smashville. I feel like, Miles, we're seeing the same issue. If Incin can't get in, he's going to get folded.
Yeah. What's interesting to me is Miso now playing a lot more grounded. Ooh, setting up with that nair, sending them off stage. This ledge trapping. Honestly beautiful right there. I love the empty land tilts. So.
Absolutely. We see, all right, so Miso already able to find a little bit more opportunity to exist here. Oh, that would have been very unfortunate for Miso, and they just fallen, but the reaction time was absolutely there. They had the jump, they had the recovery, they had it all. Nanomech already up to 113%. Miso just, I mean, a punch in the face into that blast zone.
Beautiful stuff right there, as the revenge does give you the opportunity to, I thought they were just dead, but that was still like 65%.
Yeah. A lot of damage to be done there. Like you said, it's a very expected performance, the revenge into the Alolan Whip. That's like every Incineroar's favorite combo, I think. And they're just once again going to be that Alolan Whip that will confirm. Already, Nanomech doing notably better here on the Incineroar. Already able to take that one stock offline, and that will, of course, decrease the points earned for Mississippi if they're able to win this. And right now, after being 3 stock there in Game 1, it's important to make sure if you are going to lose, you make sure you lose with as few stocks left on the board as possible.
Yeah, I've talked before about how Miso, empty land just goes burr for them. They are constantly just short hopping, and they throw out a lot of aerials, sure, but their bread and butter is these tilts. They're not hooked on the Ike aerials.
Ooh, a great catch out from Nanomech there, but Miso still very much large and in charge. 82% on the board. Okay, never mind. Nobody's large and nobody's in charge. We are right back one stock on the board, a 3% differential. Nanomek taking a very mild lead, but a lead regardless. Going to be caught out the grab into down throw, into up air, excuse me. It's going to be Miso trying to find another setup. I really like the shield there. A simple call out, but one that works very well. You get to punish off the back of it. Now we are tied up 3% difference once again.
And this Incineroar playing a lot more. You just need one more good read at the ledge and you can finish them off. I don't think you're going to get an opportunity to go for that guess, though. Ooh, that fully charged forward smash. You got a nice punish off of your uncharged forward smash, but is this enough to kill? No, one more chance, one more shot. Going for that Darkest Lariat at the ledge. Another one.
Oh, that's what I was afraid of. I wasn't sure if the magnet hands were gonna I-frame or something. I didn't know if that was gonna two-frame, but no, that is just a calm, cool, and collected, very simple but very effective move coming out from Miso there to clean up that third and final stock. That is going to be a great performance there, and that gives Mississippi that lead. Like we said, when they turn it on, they absolutely turn it on, and it looks like they are gonna do that here today.
Yeah, fantastic stuff thus far. I mean, Miso struggling a little bit. I mean, it really did feel like just the fact that they like to be on the ground and shield a lot got called out. So as soon as they were just able to start walling out Nanomek with aerials a lot more, they were able to get a lot more done. But either way, good adaptations for Nanomek to catch out on that. That's what I said you needed to do. You needed to change things up, and they changed things up in a major way. Wasn't able to get them a win, but definitely a game you could be proud of.
Yeah, 100%. I think the Incin definitely looks a lot cleaner than our Terry friend as well. The Terry v Ike matchup, I think, was just unfortunate. Not a good matchup to be walking into, but I think the Incineroar definitely looks good and can continue to be brushed up by Nanomek. That can go a long way. Incin is a very unique character in the sense of not particularly good until you are good with him, and then he can really be a powerhouse, a force to be reckoned with. So if USA kind of tuck that in their back pocket and keep it there for later, that Incin, I can see that doing dividends later down the line.
Yeah, like I am definitely in that feel-good camp about Incineroar too. Some very nice stuff overall, but we are going to be moving on to our next set. It's going to be Nair versus Red Rhino. Now, I'm not really sure who Nair is. It does feel like
I know either.
They may be a newer player. I know Mississippi expanded their roster significantly, but Red Rhino, I do know. They've been on the cloud, and
yeah,
I mean, they struggled a little bit in the one time I saw them. They're looking okay, but in general, they sometimes were leaning a little heavy on that up B, getting a little predictable. But as we saw, Nanomek, sorry, was able to mix up their habits a little bit. We'll see if they're able to mix it up too.
I'm like frantically checking my notes. I think I have nothing about Nair from the side of Mississippi. This will be a pleasant surprise for me. I truly don't know who that is, but if they're anything like a majority of the rest of Mississippi's roster, I can only assume they're going to be a very effective player and a very effective fighter. Like you mentioned, Red Rhino is going to be a cloud player with, I believe, a pocket that we have not had the opportunity to see yet, so I won't spoil who it is. And I believe we're going to have a very small break as they're having some connection issues on the side of USA. We don't have to throw it to an actual break. We just have to wait a little bit longer before the play ready and up. So Mississippi right now, I feel like I talk about this every time I see it, but it's so fascinating how, like, no matter who they bring out, we're like, ooh, that's a good player, right? Like, they've got such a large roster, but there's nobody on their team, at least not that comes to mind straight away, where when I see them, I'm like, uh-oh, you know, I'm worried about blank. It's truly a very well-versed roster inside of Mississippi.
I mean, having a Smash team with one good player is like watching your whites with just one red t-shirt. Like, it just slowly diffuses that color over everyone else.
Right.
And no one else is going to instantly become as good as that top player just because there's one top player on the team. But when you're just constantly playing friendlies, they're constantly calling out your habits like that, you're going to be, well, like, you're just going to pick it up for... you're going to pick it up as much as you can, as it is going to be a player switch. It's going to be Starukami coming in next.
Yeah, a bit of a change of pace there. Starukami is going to have to swap in. I think we're having some unpreventable tech issues on the side of USA, or unfixable. I believe Starukami is a Lucina player.
Yeah, and I just want to say, I know a lot of you out there on spring break or about to go on spring break, midterms, all that hectic time of year. So I appreciate all of you in the audience, in the players, just sticking it out with us. We are going to be making this a good show all night long as we're getting ready to go into Star Kami versus Nair right now.
Nair, who is still just like a big question mark for us in the virtual casting booth. We will find out in a bit who they play. I hope it's somebody weird. We've had a lot of weird players today, a lot of weird characters brought to the table, and I can only hope that it's going to be somebody a little funky, a little unexpected. But knowing Mississippi, you know, no matter who they play, I highly going to be well-versed in this character. They're going to be overperforming in this character. In Mississippi, they bring it to the table. They turn it on, and they walk away just on top every single time. Well, almost. I guess Bakakun kind of pokes a hole in that statement, but almost every time.
Yeah, almost, as it looks like we are now getting into it. It's going to be the Wii Fit Trainer coming out, which, honestly, can we even call Wii Fit Trainer an obscure character in EGF?
I wish. I love Wii Fit, and I feel like there's so many players on the Wii Fit here in the EGFC. I mean, I know Rip Van Winkle comes to mind straight away. Now we've got Nair, and I think there's at least one more. So we have 3. Feels like 3 more than I would ever expect. Already, it's going to be Nair with a great opening. Red Rhino. Oh, no, excuse me, that's not Red Rhino. That is now Star Ukami. Star Ukami is going to be coming out 91% on the board, and it's going to be Nair 42%, 56%. Able to find some damage here, but I feel like, again, 3rd series in a row here, Miles. We're seeing a zoning issue.
Yeah. I mean, Cena does have the disjoint to hit back the header, but online, are you really going to react to that consistently?
Exactly.
Not a chance. So you've got to stick to your shield, and that's not always going to be the best option because now you're being pressured. You don't have the defensive option, and the forward tilt will finish you off.
Forward tilt cleans you up early, and they're taking 75%, so the stock definitely soon to be taken from Starukami if they can keep up this pressure, but there it is. I was going to say, you're going to want to take that before you take any additional damage. It's going to be an immediate 1-1 trade, no extra credit for Nair, but it looks like that may not be stopping them quite yet. Starukami, I like that we've seen a notable change in playstyle already, and it's hardly been a minute.
Yes. Oof. Now though, this just a hard read on just no option right there. You got people call out mashers, but sometimes one of the biggest options is after you throw out an option, you don't really act frame perfectly afterwards. Like you don't get your immediate dash out or immediate tilt out or something like that.
We saw a little bit of a small read there from Starukami. They've learned that Nair really likes to follow in after that header. They countered the header, and they were able to get the slash attack onto Nair as well. So that was a cool read, a smart play, but already 140 to 61. That stock has to be mere seconds away, from beating the blast zone. Starukami going to lose that second one, excuse me, as Mississippi State's Nair is looking to clean this one up quick.
Pressure in the shield, pressure in this corner, a lot of forward tilts, a lot of forward smashes, but you're not going to get much more than that at the time being. That up smash, though, a little optimistic. A lot of no-nonsense moves right now from Starukami. When you're pushing too many buttons, try F smash.
Yeah, absolutely. If certain things aren't working out, go ahead and give that F smash a try. We'll see how it works down the line. Nair able to tie things up here in percentage is 78-78, but already looking to put away Starukami, and now with that additional, I think, 6-second damage buff. That is really going to help down the line to just clean up this stock. One more forward tilt to be able to put a nice little bow on top of this matchup. However, Starukami coming back to life here.
Yeah, I mean, they get one little forward tilt, and that's the main thing you got to be aware of. A lot of these counters calling out these aggressive options, but you only need to guess right once in order to be the victor right here.
It's definitely a guessing game, and I feel like Nair is utilizing these headers a lot, perhaps a little too often, but like you mentioned, online, it's really difficult to kind of keep an eye on those enough to continuously get away from them. And what a play from Nair there. Sends out the header, reads the jump, sends in the neutral B charge, and cleans up that stock onto Starukami. That was some very polished Wii Fit gameplay.
Yeah, the thing about this, the way they're playing, it's not even a read. They use the header to force a jump, and then they get the salute the sun. Like, that's the thing about having 2 long-range projectiles like that. You use one to actually be able to hit the other.
Right, for sure. That was a very intelligent play, like you said, to force the jump, and then just the follow-up was there. No way out of that one. It's going to be a good cleanup for Nair. I'm glad to see the solid Wii Fit gameplay. I feel like we have quite a few Wii Fits here. Glad to see it. Oh, by golly, what a stroke of luck there for Star Ukami to go right underneath that. Oh, I believe almost full charge salute to Sun.
Yeah, I mean, let's go down tilt. In general, though, it did really feel like as soon as Star Ukami was off stage, they were a little predictable. I would not hate to see them drop low sooner. A lot of players are scared for going for a lot steeper of a descent down, but Star Ukami just drifting back to stage like this is just an invitation for an experienced player like Nair to punish.
Absolutely, and it's those predictable jumps off stage that, like you said, those experienced players can really take advantage of. A lot of players will use that double jump a little too early and immediately pay the price of a stock for it, because then you're immediately punishable. Your movement becomes incredibly predictable, and I think Nair, like you said, took a huge advantage of that. Mississippi State now up 8-4. I believe we're still waiting on a stage coming up from the side of South Alabama. I've got to say, Nair, a very welcome player here on the side of Mississippi's roster, fits right in.
Yeah, it's looking beautiful so far. I mean, like I said, just that diffusion, that osmosis, you pick up so much from all these players. So even though we haven't seen them on the screen, they're still a godlike player. They would be a carry player on many other EGF teams. And we'll get to see a little bit more of that style as we go into our second game here.
Yeah, we've got the character run back. Nobody's going to be changing things up, at least not for this engagement. Now on a small battlefield, I'd like to say this gives Star Ukami kind of a mild advantage in terms of closing the distance, but if Nair doesn't even let them touch the ground, I mean, there's not going to be distance to be worried about.
Yeah, I mean, just touch stage, bro. That's what you got to do. But when are you ever going to get the chance when every time you're going down, you land next to a shielding Wii Fit, you know they're going to throw the legs back, and you're not able to... Oh, that's unfortunate. Drifting back a little too far. Clean 0 to death right there from Nair, as now they are getting touched a little bit, but they still have a solid lead over Star Ukami.
Yeah, I mean, that 7% in the time they were able to take Star Ukami's entire first stock is going to be a real game changer, probably giving Nair an opportunity to walk away with a win. Already 75% on that second stock. A great spot, or excuse me, a great shield there, but unfortunately not enough. There's no capitalization. There wasn't an opportunity to punish as you were above them. The header going to miss with the salute that's done. Going to create enough space. Like I said earlier, I feel like Nair is using the header a lot, like a predictable amount a lot, but Star Ukami just can't do anything about it. It's not like it can be punished because Star Ukami's never close enough to follow up on these headers.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing you can maybe do is try and get something out there to hit it back. But Lucina doesn't have any long, lingering moves like that. Maybe you could go for a dancing blade or something. But if you commit to that, then Nair is getting what they want out of their conditioning.
Absolutely. The conditioning has been built here, and it looks like Star Ukami is just unfortunately not able to break through anything yet. The ground does come through, but the header is going to be missed out. 94-94 across the board, but Star Ukami already on that last stock. They're looking for a 3-stock right now.
Yeah, as Star Ukami, I don't blame them at all for going for that F smash. You need to get a big swing here and now if you want any chance of turning this around, any chance at a clutch gimp or something like that. But it's looking increasingly unlikely as Nair, every time, they're never letting up the pressure, finally finishing them off right there.
A great, incredible performance from there. A 3-stock to round things out. Gives Mississippi an incredible lead. And Miles, I always talk about how crucial, how pivotal I think this third set is in a 5-man like this. And it has just been a showboat of a time for Nair on this Wii Fit trainer, giving a 3-stock victory. It doesn't quite guarantee a victory for Mississippi yet, but they are very far in the lead in tournaments right now. And with Mr. Man coming in next, it's going to become harder and harder for USA to find these points.
Yeah, I mean, just take a look at this right here. I mean, I think if I remember correctly, yeah, this is them whiffing that forward smash, and then they just run in the dash back forward smash. The tale as old as time. That is literally day one Smash strats. Not day one of Ultimate, no, day one of Smash in general. Dash back forward smash. That was the first neutral win.
The first neutral win. A tale as old as time, as old as the game itself. And I'm really excited that Mississippi is bringing in these newer characters, because I feel like for a long time we were seeing your general Canoe, Mr. Man, on blanking, Yosefu, Connor Sanders, and MIA, right? That kind of felt like the primary five. And now we knew their roster was always very big, but they're showing us that it's not just those five. It's not just the five very strong, incredible players. They've got an insanely deep roster. And I mean, if you're running friendlies against any of those five, you've got to be somewhat good at this point, right? I mean, you can only get your butt kicked for so long. You start figuring out how to play the game a little more consistently. I believe Red Rhino is finally going to be making an appearance here, has those Wi-Fi issues figured out, but right now, Mr. Man showing up, I mean, that means the anchor could be MIA, could be Yosefu, could be Connor Sanders himself. I mean, no matter who it is, my point is Mississippi, that anchor is going to be an insane person to try and find.
Yeah, I mean, as good as Cloud is against floatier characters,
right?
Matchups can only take you so far, and Mr. Man, brutal. Now, Mr. Man was one of the only few people who looked a little shaky the other week. They actually dropped the game to UConn. However, that was against a very good player on UConn who Mississippi State actually had one of the perfect counters to. Or no, it was actually George Washington. Yeah, it was George Washington. So like in general, Mr. Man has looked just as untouchable as the rest of them. So while this might be a chance for an upset, Red Rhino has so much defense to work through. Absolutely. Mr. Man doesn't let these slip easily. As they're going straight through the ZSS.
Yeah, Mr. Man is playing nothing other than just direct aggression here. Bringing the ZSS out early, the character that Mr. Man is notoriously known for. Red Rhino is already going to be on the wrong side of that whip grab, able to get caught out. Mr. Man goes for the double up smash, not able to find anything with it. And now Red Rhino getting some percentages on the board.
Oh, but that's an immediate game right there. Maybe didn't ration your resources as well as you could have. As now Red Rhino, they've got to just sit with that. They got to hold that because you've still got the entire 2 stocks to play with. But you might not even have that as Mr. Man already peppering you.
Yeah, Mr. Man doing a great job. And I don't want to say there's a zoning issue this time, which is great because the last 3 series I've had to say that. I think Mr. Man obviously has a little bit more of a reach than Red Rhino traditionally here in character choice, but I think Cloud can pretty consistently close the gap if he needs to. However, Mr. Man just doing a great job not standing still, so Red Rhino doesn't really know where to go other than straight into the blast zone. Mr. Man giving them the express route into their second stop.
And this is exactly how you need to play ZSS. With punish, after with punish, safe pressure with punish. That's all you're really going to be seeing all day long. And they went for the instant stock steal right there with that spike. Not going to find it, obviously. But dang, Mr. Man is bloodthirsty. They're playing this game to see, like, just how many points can I get on the board?
Yeah, Mr. Man really going for the any percent speed run here. Just bringing out their main, the character we have seen them demolish the best of the best in the EGFC with. And right now, like you said, already looking to find that third and final stock. Oh, great setup there. Will we see the stock? The air dodge just come through. Oh! Mr. Man, I'm shocked, didn't punish that.
I think there was an opportunity there, but you didn't want to waste your resources off stage like that. So, Mr. Man, they'll just take the on-stage neutral once again. Get the back throw as a sit for Red Rhino. No jump right there. Red Rhino good at delaying the recovery.
Yeah, great at delaying the recovery. Really doing a good job spacing, or changing the spacing rather here against Mr. Man, so those forward airs aren't as easy. Finding even 1 stock here for Red Rhino could be great. It looks like they're going to try to find it there, looking for that neutral B special, but I just said neutral bit, whatever. It's going to be 100% already online for Mr. Man on their first stock still. Red Rhino 120% still on that third and final stock.
Ooh, and they actually got it.
It's over.
But it didn't hit confirm it, and that's just going to be it. Mr. Man going to get the finisher right there. Some nice stuff overall, Mr. Man. That was clean, practiced, precise gameplay, and exactly what you need to be seeing as you're preparing for the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, that is just Mississippi doing Mississippi things, right? Mr. Man has been, and probably will continue to be one of the strongest players in the EGFC. That ZSS is honestly terrifying. We have seen, if I'm not mistaken, we've seen very few people beat this ZSS ever. Mr. Man is a very strong, incredibly consistent player. The only person that comes to mind straight away, I know Mr. Man lost to Skull Kid from DePaul. That was last year. But that's like the only immediate time that I'm like, oh, Mr. Man lost. Other than that, it is Mr. Man winning, it feels, every single time we see them.
Yeah, it's... I mean... We've just been on loop.
Yeah, truly. There's so little to be said about the consistency that Mr. Man brings to the table. I mean, it's so on par. It's so expected that there's so little for us to say about it that hasn't been said already.
And even when they're messing around on their secondaries, on their Sora, they're still getting nice wins. And then when they go back to the ZSS, well, a lot of players find that you just cannot lay a finger on her. The way Mr. Man doesn't overcommit too much, never like puts themselves in a position where they can't recover before their opponent when they go off stage. It's what you need to be seeing, as it looks like we're going to be going to Town and City with...
Oh, there it is.
Okay, yeah. We did see Mr. Man, like, run this Roy.
Yeah. We have seen this before. It's certainly not out of pocket for Mr. Man. We know it's also incredibly strong. It may be a little easier for Red Rhino to get in and get value fighter v sword fighter. You don't have to worry about the laser anymore. But now it's still going to be just Mr. Man doing a great job, continuing to not stand still, hitting, getting on platform, jumping over, air dodging, doing this great idea of constant misdirection. Nothing feels predictable because Mr. Man just continues to move at a speed that Red Rhino hasn't been able to properly counter yet.
And Mr. Man does have a, I'm not going to say a habit because it's not exactly bad, but they always go for reads that will kill if they land. Like, it's not like they're just like, oh, I'm reading your jump, I'm going to hit you with an air. No, right. If they read you're going on a stage like that, you're just dead. Yeah,
absolutely. And perhaps that's what gives Mr. Man such a consistent play style, is those reads, is the fact it feels like maybe he's flying a couple of steps ahead relatively consistently. Right now, Red Rhino doing a really good job racking up some free damage % onto this first stock. As soon as Mr. Man gets in, though, I fear that a lot more damage needs to be done. Break grab into down throw into what looks like a double hit, but now 66%. The limit break is charged, Miles. So if Red Rhino can get that off, that may be a kill.
But now you've got to ledge check without limit here. Going to avoid a lot of these aerials, but you're still... Oh, yeah, there it is. They go for reads that will kill. How many times have they F-smashed the ledge this game? It's got to be like 3 or 4.
I was going to say quite a few.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, though, Seth. And this could just be another one. Reading that jump out there, and they're just barely able to get back to that platform.
I'm always so impressed with Mr. Man. Every week we see them, and it has been incredible. Honestly, it is just so consistent, so intelligent. For a second, I thought Red Rhino just SD'd to end it, but no. They are able to get back on stage, trying to find that value now. 118 on the board. And Mississippi, they are just looking to end this right here, right now. After this, we have one more matchup between the schools, and then that'll be all she wrote for these two tonight.
Yeah, Mississippi just swinging away right now. Mr. Man does get caught for the back air right there, but they're able to refresh their jump with that platform leaving the stage. They have a chance, a moment in the spotlight. Can you get anything more out of it? Not yet.
Oh, Red Rhino, let's see that first stock finally take it. Chooses not to chase. I think a chase could have been good there. Just jump into an up air even. Could have gone a mile, but unfortunately it is not going to be enough. Hindsight is 20. Mr. Man walking away with, I believe, a double 3 stock.
Yeah, they got those points that they wanted so bad. They, well, sorry for saying you're one of the weaker members of Mississippi. I mean, being a weaker member of Mississippi is like being like the least damaging Bayonetta for like smash attack.
Yeah.
It still looks so meaty, and not that she's the highest damage, but dang, as you're able to, get some nice points on the board. Mississippi lining themselves up with a point differential that will make other teams envious as you get closer to the playoffs.
Absolutely. I mean, Mr. Man really cleaning it up. I believe there's 5 additional points on top of the 16 we're seeing in the replay. So I think we are now entering the 20 bomb era of Mr. Man and Mississippi as a whole. And I do want to say as well, we haven't had the opportunity to analyze or talk about the University of South Alabama because realistically, we are looking at a newer team in the form of USA going up against some of the most seasoned players in the entirety of the EGFC. This, in reality, may simply be an experience gap. Mississippi, they know the EGFC like the back of their hands, and there's nothing wrong with that either. South Alabama, they are still entering this. They are still new to this, and they are still, as we mentioned, a newer team. So this may unfortunately just be one of those poor matchup scenarios.
Yeah, honestly, it's good to see that you get this experience, but it's hard to watch.
Right.
It's like
right.
It's like throwing your kid in the deep end to teach him how to swim. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing that. But hey, sometimes they do learn how to swim. Sometimes they do learn how to stand up against these stronger teams, how to get more stocks than just these 4 points. But hey, now we do get to see what you can do here as Dracolian against Yosefu. Now this floaty, at the very least, might not get comboed as much, but the confirms might be that much more deadly.
Absolutely. And with Yosefu being this final, this anchor for the side of Mississippi, that means we're not seeing any Connor Sanders today, which personally I don't mind. I'm not a huge Yoshi guy, but it means we're also not seeing MIA, which I'm a little sad about because gameplay, but my point stands that this anchor could have been any of them, and the expectation, or the reality even, is probably going to be the same. They are all so strong, such consistent players that they are really comfortable putting anybody in this anchor spot.
Yeah, as Yosefu demonstrating why Dracolian is able to actually use these projectiles that just spawn away from Sora's body to well, actually get a little bit of chip damage on Yosefu. If you're able to get one opening, then maybe you could turn that chip damage into a little bit more if you convert it into something greater. As you're actually able to get the counter to get through the ledge trapping, and now you're the one ledge trapping Yosefu? Dracolian, what is this?
Yeah, Dracolian really turns around, finds a lot of great value here. Like you said, finds ledge trapping, but you cannot fall directly above a Belmont like that. That whip will send you into that top blast zone. Let's say 99% of the time. It's a very comfortable falling straight down on top of him. And Yosefu definitely taking advantage of that. Now playing a bit of a jungle game here. Every projectile under the sun making an appearance. The up special comes out to rack up even more damage. And what started very strong for Dracolian is unfortunately starting to crumble just a bit.
Yes, now. Ooh, nice punish on the parry right there. Understanding that Yosefu wants to just get right back into the action off of that parry. So, you dash attack. You get a little bit of a burst potential right there. As that down air not going to connect, that's going to be an easy shield grab for Yosefu.
Yeah, Yosefu just in such a good position right now to utilize all of these hyper-aggressive projectiles and then catch out the Sora. Sora very floaty, but when projectiles are covering, let's say, 3 of your 4 approaches, that leaves one spot for you to go, and Yosefu is waiting for that opportunity to find that whip, to find that up special. As we've seen Yosefu using, I think, a lot more than he normally does, but hey, it's working well, right? At one point, the #1 Belmont in the country, in the world, I never remember. A very high-ranked Belmont is the point here, and he proves that again and again every week.
Yeah, as now, I thought maybe that up smash can set up some tremendous juggling for Sora, but you're not able to get it. Instead, down air, out of disadvantage, it's the panic option that everyone goes to. It's going to be punished, and that will be Yosefu going up 2 stocks. Not terrible.
Yeah, that's actually the first time in, I believe, since game 2. We've seen a stock taken off of the side of Mississippi. It's been a little bit since we've seen somebody from the side of University of South Alabama kind of break through this, as we've said many times, insane team. And I also want to note that Dracolian is actually a sub. Is actually kind of an alternate player if somebody from USA is not able to make it. I've got to say, doing a very good job. To be an alternate player, somebody who doesn't enter the main stage, holding your own against a player like Yosefu, one of the top ranked in the world or country, I can never remember. But the point is, to play this consistently, this strongly against such a high-ranked player, goes to show the potential is absolutely here.
Yeah, and even though Yosefu at the moment is looking like too much of a wall to surmount in any meaningful way at this time, the fact that USA came in again as a newer team and they are looking this good against Mississippi. This is good to see. This is a lot of growth. Going to the next season of EGF, who knows where they'll be? We might be talking about USA on the top.
Absolutely. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised because it's really difficult for us right now to see the full potential these players bring out. I'm just going to recap again. Mississippi, very good. USA, a newer team. They're struggling to go up against these seasoned veterans. But USA, they are, to an extent, holding their own and showing potential in a lot of these matchups. They're playing strong characters. We're seeing appropriate combos when they have the opportunity to strike. So I think, like you said, the more time this team spends, the more they hone down on these major points and these small errors, fixing them along the way, this team could absolutely be a front runner next year. I fully believe that.
But Mississippi, for now, holds the crown, and it is not being jostled from their head in the slightest. So, Yosefu looking to put the final nail in this coffin as we are going into what seems to be our last game, probably. I'm not trying to count Dracolian out, but after how Yosefu performed, well.
Yosefu, I don't believe, is often taken to the heavens here, taken to game 3 very often. I feel like Yosefu's in and out relatively quick.
Nice projectile pressure right there. Yosefu trying to read a very aggressive option, but because of this triplat, Yosefu has another place to cancel their up B.
Yeah, and now we see Dracolian already playing a much floatier off-ground play style, and I like that a lot, trying to utilize these trying to utilize these aggressive moves from the side of University of South Alabama, trying to get in and be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit less predictable. However, Yosefu, I mean, a very good player with this, knows exactly where to put these projectiles on probably every stage of the game.
His little burst momentum right there. Ooh, I actually don't mind using the low to the ground down air like that. It's kind of punishable, as we saw Yosefu get a big punish over that. But if it hits, it sets at a pretty good angle to set up for more edge guarding.
92% off board. Yosefu's first stock with Dracolian already down to that second one. Projectiles coming out, trying to cover these ledge options. I like the roll in a lot, but yeah, Yosefu doing the exact thing I was worried about. Incredibly punishable by that holy water. If they just see you rolling in, that holy water comes out and it'll catch you almost every time.
And when it's right inside of you, there's no hope of DIing out of that before mayhem ensues. And with Yosefu, that mayhem ensues mighty fast. As now it just feels like Dracolian. They want to touch this. They want to touch the cardboard so bad. They can't get there, though. It's just being burned away.
Again, Dracolian very close to finding this first stop, but I feel like on the Sora, we're struggling to see a lot of kill confirms, and that seems to be kind of the name of the game so far. They get Yosefu up to 90, 100 something on these stocks, and then unfortunately just can't find that follow-up. They found one stock last time, but we're able to capitalize, and there's the one stock once again.
Yeah, and when Yosefu is feeling confident, they get all swingy. That is one thing I do love. Yosefu is so aggressive right off of the Angel platform.
Always.
I mean, come on. And now they're going for this pixel-perfect technique right here, where you put that flames right on the edge right there. It's like Steve's down tilt.
It's like a pseudo two-frame.
Oh no, it's a guaranteed two-frame. Like I said, Steve's down tilt. It doesn't even let you touch the ledge unless you have like some magic. Or Pikachu.
Or Pikachu. Pikachu's the exception, I think. Oh, now that's probably... Well, okay, Yosefu actually goes for the jump there. I thought a forward tilt would just kind of wrap that up nicely, but instead it's going to be come up and over. Dracolian looking to find that second stock, but oh, that's got to be it, right? Grab. Oh, I expected a back throw. Once again, Yosefu doing things that I definitely did not expect he brought to the table.
Hello, Sora. What is Yosefu planning? Yosefu wants something here.
Something flashy. Like, Yosefu's fishing for something, but like, I cannot figure out what it is.
Machine, like, ring, a 7. What else you got for me? Oh, there's a crack in it. It's not stopping. Is Yosefu, all this fishing, they're getting nothing but net.
So many opportunities to kill here, and Yosefu just not taking.
What do they want? What do you want? I feel like I'm pushing, like...
Whatever it is, it has to do with a grab. That's all I can tell, because they keep missing the grab.
They want to kill with down throw. They want to kill with down throw. Up throw? No!
Up throw, that just doesn't hit the same. Wait. Another one? Nope. A third? Third time's the charm. 232 on the board right now. Poor Dracolian just wants to die, but Not able to take it out. Finally goes up and into the blast zone. That is going to be Jerkolian going down. Yosefu walking away, putting a nice little cherry on top for Mississippi's victory today.
I mean, it's a little, I want to say disrespectful, but sometimes you want to get that dramatic finish. You know what I mean? You want to get that flex. And Jerkolian honestly put up a great fight. How many people have we seen get 3-stocked brutally by Yosefu with no hope of even touching the Belmont?
Too many. Yosefu has been, same as Mr. Man. I can think of very times we've seen Yosefu go down in a series as the loser. And I think those two in particular are very good sets. Are very good players for the set of Mississippi's primary kind of roster. And we have gotten confirmation that Mississippi, unfortunately, does not have time for an interview today. So that's a little stinky, because we always love to talk to the winners, but that's A-okay. We're actually going to throw it to a rather extended break. I believe Paul, unfortunately, had to forfeit tonight, so the next block is going to be a forfeit win. There's more Super Smash Bros. Ultimate coming to you guys in just a little bit, but my time tonight has come to a close. Thank you to both the teams, or all 4 of the teams, rather, coming out tonight. Thank you to Devin, our producer in the back line. Thank you, Miles, for joining me as always. This is always and thank you all so very much for watching. We love each and every one of you. Check your posture, drink some water, don't forget to love each other, and enjoy the rest of the Smash Ultimate. But for now, I'll see you next week, and Miles will see you in just a minute.